down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! Feeling older, wiser, and clearly more hateful. What's going on, all you scallywags? Nutmeggers, conversationalists, young, old, and in between. And, of course, my haters, it's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Just back from the big birthday bash. Couldn't thank all of you enough and never will be able to. So thank you all for showing up. I want to thank the coach, Greg Dillon. He got me a Lids gift card. And I took his gift card and went to the West Farms Mall, and they made this little ditty that sits on top of my brain. This new Reese on the radio ball cap. Fitted, as the kids would say, with the Reese on the radio logo on it. Took about 30 minutes to do. Everybody keeps saying, can I get a hat? Yes, you can. I will tell you which lids to go down to, and they have the framework now. We had to contact the last place that did my ball cap in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and we got them on the phone, and they found the file, and it was sitting there. And they had it made for me yesterday. It was an interesting trip to the mall yesterday. I want to talk about that later on. Because over the weekend, there was a mass shooting. And I'm only thinking about the mass shooting because of what I witnessed at the mall. And as controversial as it's going to sound, I need people to consider where you live. The reason why a story like the mass shooting gets the attention that it does, it's because this is Connecticut. It happens, but it doesn't happen. If you get my meaning. I'm going to wait for it. I'll get into that in a second because it's important. Roseanne and I talked about it a little bit as we walked through the mall. We are very happy to be here. We're from the hood. We are from the ghetto, the inner city, the slums. We know when we've had it good. We're smart enough to know when we got it good. Some people, not so much. Savages. Just savages. You look at them, you see the way that they behave. Then you have the enabling class. You know, who are finding new and inventive ways of calling them animals. Saying things like, well, that's their way. But like I said, we'll get into that later. I want to talk about something that is, I don't know, a lot of people are concerned about, worried about. My wife is often concerned about the state of the Democrat Party, the state of our young people. What's going to happen? Is socialism going to take root? Do they have a strong argument to influence these small minds of children? And as much as I like to talk about the socialists, I have to tell people it's not that serious. It isn't. When I hear certain individuals almost applauding them, saying, look Look at what they're doing. Look at the ground they're making. I always consider the source. Those who panic about the Democratic Socialists of America, the Marxists, the Mao Zedong, the Leninists, all of them. Those people, I pay very close attention to them, and I know their track record. Look, I'm just going to put it to you this way. How can I trust the person on the news talking about the rise of the DSA and socialism? How can I trust them when these are the same people I was supposed to trust during COVID or during the Russia scandal or during the election of 2016? Hillary Clinton's got a 90% chance of winning. These people have never been right. And now they're talking about the DSA, and I'm supposed to take their word for it? They are never right. So that's why I laugh. Now, there are some people right now, I put a pin right in all of their hopes and dreams. Psst, they're sitting there going, oh, yeah, that's right. Yes. They have no track record. So when you see Jake Tapper, Anderson Cooper, Katie Hunt, any one of those bozos over at CNN or MSNBC, sitting up there talking about there's quite a rise in democratic socialism amongst the Democrats. Could they take over and become president of the United States? Well, we'll talk about it. And you look at these guys and I go, wait. Aren't these the same people who said that it was a disease of the unvaccinated? Wasn't that right? Weren't these the same people who said that the vaccine, if you took it, you wouldn't get COVID? I can't trust these people. Russia. Huh? These are the same people who ran the walls closing in nonsense. The walls are closing in on Donald Trump. Remember that? Remember, you can bank on it. Donald Trump will never be president of the United States. Remember all that? Now, all of a sudden, these people, like they've got the Ouija board of socialism? Nah, I doubt it. Think. Come on, folks. It ain't illegal yet. These people have no credibility. And look at the nonsense that they're promoting. These people are idiots, these members of the DSA. They didn't do their homework. Why would they? They're lazy. They're layabouts. What happened is simple. And this is exactly, I can wrap this up in a neat little bow. Imagine a world of convenience. Toaster ovens, instant coffee, microwaves. That's who we became as a society, right? It was the mother of invention. We had to find new and improved ways to make our lives simpler. Remove effort. What happened to the mail system? We created email. So now we didn't have to buy those ridiculous stamps. We could just send someone a letter, lickety-split through the interwebs. Convenience. Some people have lived with that convenience their entire lives. And imagine them waking up and finding out that to get to all of these things that they saw everyone with, they had to work, put effort in, sweat equity, wait a long time in many cases. You mean to tell me I may have to wait until I'm 60 to own a home? Yeah, I was 50 when I did. It was just 3 years ago. I just turned 57. Not everybody gets a house when they're 40. That's the dream, but not everyone does. But all of these yahoos, these young kids are going, well, mom's got 2 cars, and dad's got a car and a project car that he works on, a Grand Prix that he's suiting up, and he's got a backyard, and they go on vacation, and they've got a 401k. But they never ask, never even investigate what mom and pop had to do to get there. They just know that they got them. And these kids want theirs. I want mine. And then someone said, well, you got to work hard. You got to save money. Sometimes you got to work 2 jobs. Sometimes you have to work a whole lot of overtime. The reward is after the fact. But I want it now. No, can't have it now. Got to work for it. And sometimes it takes decades. What? That doesn't seem right. This capitalism thing sucks. That's all it is, folks. If you think I'm kidding you, that's all this is. Ask them. Ask them. Ask them what they are fighting for. Universal health care? A government wage? A guaranteed income? A housing allowance? What do these people want? They want things that you and I, we spent our entire lives working hard to obtain and maintain. These people want it given to them. Basic stuff, man. Food. Food, man. Just food. You hear these bozos arguing about a $20 burrito? Did you hear the response that people were giving? Hey, dumbass, I had to eat ramen all year. I had to play vegetarian, and I'm not a vegetarian. You have no idea what we went through. We suffered, we sacrificed, we worked 2 jobs. These kids go, but I've got class at 9. They're just a bunch of whiners. Of course they're embracing socialism. It's just free stuff. What kid, what petulant child wouldn't want free stuff that they didn't have to work for? I mean, that is the participation trophy, isn't it? So that they don't feel bad or have to really put in effort because they don't really have the skills? None of these kids are winners. Sorry. This might mean your kid, but they're not. These kids are not winners. That's why they use the morality test. I'm more moral than you. That gives them value. They can't run. They can't jump. They can't swim. They obviously can't think. They don't even want to think. And you have all of these institutions that literally play to this stupidity. We're going to get rid of valedictorians because we don't want the dumb kids to feel bad. So nobody's a valedictorian. We don't keep score at the softball game because score alienates losers. This is what they brought up. This is what they created. They told these kids that they were special and they were important, and now they think so. And the criteria for all of that is that they care about everybody else getting everybody else's stuff. And they scream and holler, capitalism is the problem. Let me give you a perfect example. CBS News, right? Is that who this was? Yeah, CBS. They were talking to Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
Our new CBS News.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Our new CBS News poll out this morning finds 58% of Democrats have a positive view of socialism, and just 32% have a positive view of capitalism.
Now, when you hear a statement like that from a CBS anchor given to a governor, you would think you lead with socialism bad. But no, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, he says this instead.
What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that people are struggling. They're struggling because the cost of groceries is too high. The cost of gas is too high. It's too hard to see a doctor, and when you do, the cost of that is too high as well. They're not asking for a lot. They just want to go to work, make a good living, be able to raise their kids, buy a home before they're 40, take their family on the same vacation they went on as kids. And right now, they're seeing a system that doesn't work for them.
That's it. They're seeing something that doesn't work for them. It's not how it works. The system isn't there for you. The system is for you to work. This is what you want. This is how you get it. Some of you are going to have to work harder than others. Some of you, maybe not so much. Get a house before you're 40. Those days are over. Before they're 40. Not for this generation. What would they want a big house for? They don't have any kids. They're aborting them like it's going out of style. What would one person want a house for? And by the way, if you ask half of these kids, they don't want a house because they don't want to have to maintain it. Why do they not want to have to maintain it? Because if they have to maintain it, they have to pay somebody who's going to charge them an exorbitant amount of money to get that thing fixed. So that's why they don't buy cars. They pretty much do zip cars, right? And they take transit buses. They don't own anything. They rent. So all of these things that old Andy Beshear's talking about, half of the young people don't want. But when he talks about them like they're a bunch of children who want things. And they don't feel they're getting it in a record time. So what? We'll destroy the system for them. I say hell no. But to prove my point that these people, one, don't know what they're talking about, and two, they're nothing more but a bunch of spoiled brats, I'm going to give you the evidence. Especially for you people who are rooting them on. Yay, socialism! Yeah. I'm going to use the facts against you. And I'm going to do one more. I'm going to go to the people you trust, the people who hate Trump, to prove it. Stand by. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the Radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the Radio. Happy Monday to all of you. Hope you have had a great Monday thus far and are joining me. At about 3 o'clock hour, I'll want to give some shout outs and some thank yous and everyone. And someone had asked a question about Fred in Middletown. Fred and I have a very interesting dynamic. He read a poem, the third and final edition of the Reese Man poem, where he talked about my syntax, which somebody asked me about, and it was like, dude, I think he was razzing you. I'm like, yeah, he was. But Fred and I have a rapport. Fred often will criticize me because I don't speak real good. But I love Fred because he keeps me honest. I'm flying by the seat of my pants sometimes, and I will have like a thing that'll pop into my head, and I'll just say it. And sometimes it meanders a little bit, and I totally get it. It's my style. But yeah, I'm not. But he even said it. He was just like, but, what can you do? Which I love him for. And that's why I love giving him shine. Fred knows I love him. And I know he loves Reese on the Radio. So, Fred, thank you. By the way, thank you for that. It was a great opportunity. And I hope it was great for you, too, to come on and be on camera and have everybody listen to you live. It was one of my joys of the birthday party. But we'll talk about all that in a minute. So getting back to the petulance of the DSA and these children who are not spectacular people, unremarkable them all. And you just have to call it that. Like, what are these people doing outside of complaining about how tough it is to do the things the rest of us have already done, tried, or failed at? And that's what we have done. We have failed at a lot of the things that we have tried to do. They have made us, in fact, many of us have built our lives up based on those failures. Having gone through the cuts, the bruises, the damaged egos, the firings, the layoffs, the struggle, the poverty. What did someone say they wrote in here? What did they write in here? Somebody wrote something interesting about something they ate in the chat room. Thank you, Scallywags. I love you guys. Yeah, there he goes. Deba says drank powdered milk. Drank powdered milk, which is nothing more than, I don't know, cement, if you think about it. These people don't know struggle. They just know that they have to work hard and they hate it. But I have to do this. Let me go back to Governor Beshear of Kentucky. Listen again. He's being asked, what do you make of 58% of Democrats saying that they're socialists or being okay with socialism?
What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that people are struggling. They're struggling because the cost of groceries is too high. The cost of gas is too high. It's too hard to see a doctor, and when you do, the cost of that is too high as well. They're not asking for a lot. They just want to go to work, make a good living, be able to raise their kids, buy a home before they're 40, take their family on the same vacation they went on as kids. And
now, nonsense, Andy Beshear. Absolute nonsense. You heard in the beginning, they don't make as much money. Right? They don't have the things that we have. Well, I don't know if anybody here has HBO. I do. I barely watch it. You do? Do you watch HBO? Okay. All right. I have HBO, but I don't watch it very often. And if I do, it's only because I'm looking for a new movie that may be featured on HBO while it's in the theater, so I don't have to go to the theaters. And Real Time with Bill Maher is probably one of the most popular shows on there. And this past Friday, he said this.
This is from the...
Goodness gracious, man.
This is from the Fed. Okay. 2/3 of Americans consider groceries to be unaffordable. Maybe they are. But wages rose in the last decade, including the pandemic, 46%. Food prices rose 34%. So wages outpaced them by the numbers.
See? Turns out, millennials versus Gen X. Nonsense.
What we spend on food. At the beginning of the last century, it was 42% of the budget.
That's right. 42% of the personal budget was spent on food before 2000.
When you go through the years, 1965, it was down to 15%. Now it's under 10% of the budget, including eating out more.
Yeah. What's that? Can't hear you.
Also, Gen Z, I never realized this until people started writing about it. As they reach their late 20s now, they're getting much richer than Gen X was. Millennials and Gen Z at age 30, their net worth is around $118,000. Gen X's was $53,000, like half of that. But Gen X never complained.
That's right. We never complained. And you make more than double. Now, if that doesn't tell you they're a bunch of petulant rubes, I don't know what does. No one takes these people seriously. But I take this seriously. And I guess this is the best way to put it. This is the DSA steering committee. I guess this means that where all the direction of the DSA comes from. And they are saying the quiet part out loud, it would appear.
So the two things that we're famous for is our commitment to a program and our hatred of the United States Constitution. And what the program does is it gives us a roadmap to revolution, and it gives us the obstacle that we finally will have to get over to have a revolution, which is the United States Constitution, the basis of the United States government.
What is the U.S. Constitution? For you people on the left, you think it's something else. But to the rest of us who've actually read it, we know that the U.S. Constitution is a contract that tells the government what it can't do to us. And the DSA wishes to dismantle that Constitution so that it can implement its rule on us. But wait, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to hear the DSA in their own words in its entirety.
So the two things that we're famous for is our commitment to a program and our hatred of the United States Constitution. And what the program does is it gives us a roadmap to revolution, and it gives us the obstacle that we finally will have to get over to have a revolution, which is the United States Constitution, the basis of the United States government. And what the minimum maximum program specifically, what that format specifically gives us is that roadmap. It gives us the minimum circumstances under which we would be able to take power and govern, and it gives us the maximum program, which is the goals that we're actually aiming for. It also clarifies democracy as both the end goal and as part of the process to get there ensures the internal party democracy that we want to see in DSA. So it really wraps up the revolutionary tradition of democracy that I think socialism and abolitionism in the United States have always been a part of, and aims at a future that we can live in as a human species. Because I think absent a revolutionary democratic socialist republic in North America, we may not have a livable future.
So here he is telling you that he wants to dismantle the contract that says the government can't do this, that, and a third to you, and have a democracy that tells you what it can do for you, do to you, can silence you. That's exactly what he's talking about. In his own words, we can take over with power to implement the things that we want. In the DSA, you notice he is not talking about the people. He is talking about the DSA, the socialists, we, the organization, we, the people in charge, we, the overthrowers, we, the abolitionists. They will implement their own rule of law. They will rewrite the Constitution, or hell, they won't even have one. And they'll change it up as they go along, just like many socialist countries across the globe who have changed their constitution over and over and over again. These are petulant children. That's it. That's all. We don't like your game, so we're going to destroy it and make new rules. Screw you 250 years. We're not getting the results we want. So now you have to give it up. Thank you, OU812. Yeah. They say this is not a democracy. No, it is not. But you notice they keep using it. They don't want a representative republic. When we come back from the break, I want to play for you an exchange between Jorge Ramos, his daughter Paulo Ramos, Megan Romer, and Ashik Sadiq. Megan Romer and Adiq Shadiq are the co-chairs of the Democratic Socialists of America. If you have not seen this video, you need to find it and share it with your friends. Because these two bozos are the leaders, the co-chairs of the Democratic Socialists of America. These are the people they chose to put in charge of the whole movement that has taken the country by storm. And it's too bad it is uncouth and improper to use the R word anymore. Because I'm sorry. I, of course, mean no offense to people who are mentally disabled. So I will just call these two folks denunts, because that's what they are. And you will hear them in their own words when we come back. Stand by. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
All right, so the co-chairs of the DSA, because of course they can't just have one chair. They have to do co-chairs. You have to make sure one is a female. You have to make sure another is a minority. Probably one person has to be, I don't know, gay, non-binary. Who knows? I don't know. So Jorge Ramos, formerly of, was it Telemundo or Univision? Who knows? Univision. He has a podcast called The Moment. Libs love that word, The Moment. We're in a moment. And he hosts the show with his daughter, Paulo Ramos. And you can tell that the apple does not fall far from the tree, because both of these folks are liberals. They believe the same ideals. Paula does not think for herself. She thinks she's very educated, smarter than everyone else. But when you've seen her do her videos, you realize that she's a complete idiot. If you ever watched that video where she's talking to the couple about DNA, and the DNA guy is trying to explain to Paula that black people and white people have different DNA based upon their race, and Paula cannot. But no, that's not backed up by science. He's like, yeah, it's exactly backed up by science, you knucklehead. It's like, I don't understand. I'm having this conversation with you. And he's the guy who has the degree in it, and she's a maroon. And she's telling the scientist that he doesn't know what he's talking about DNA. Dun-dun-dun. Anyway, so this 5-minute interview goes to show you exactly how bad things have gotten for the DSA. When you can't convince Jorge Ramos and Paula, you got another thing coming.
The multi-party elections since 1959 in Venezuela is clearly still a dictatorship. So what's your relationship with these countries? Do you believe that Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, that they are dictatorships?
For us, expanding democracy, the small d democratic part of democratic socialism is core to what we stand for and what our vision for the world.
Not an answer.
We want to expand democracy in the electoral system. We want to expand democracy in our workplaces through labor unions and in our communities. So that's a core part of what we're doing. And that's what we're also very aware of our responsibility within the United States.
Yep, but that's not what I asked you. I asked you, is Cuba, Venezuela, is that a dictatorship? Is that you want to make a world like them? Do you think that they are a dictatorship?
To influence U.S. policy. So when we're thinking about other countries, we want to expand democracy everywhere.
Is Cuba a dictatorship for you?
I think in the United States, it's hard for us to judge other countries being dictatorships.
Why can't you judge other countries? I'm going to take a wild guess. Is it because of Trump?
We have Donald Trump as president.
Yeah.
When basic voting rights are under attack in the U.S., validated by the Supreme Court just a few months ago, I think we have a lot of work to do in the United States to make sure we have a democracy.
Let me go back to Cuba. Do you think Cuba is a dictatorship?
There are things that the Cuban people themselves would want to change in their own system, but it's hard to do that when the blockade is such a severe. It's strangling their economy, and this is U.S. policy to make the economy scream.
Do you hear this? He can't answer the question, but then he says that they can't do anything to change their democracy because of the blockade. It's, again, U.S.'s fault that Cuba is a dictatorship that holds political prisoners and silences dissent. It's America's fault.
It's a stated U.S. policy to put economic pressure on people to support regime change for business interests in the United States.
I understand, but maybe your hesitancy in Megan. I don't know if you want to.
I can jump in. So I've been.
Now hold on, Megan? I don't know if you want to jump in to save this bozo. Do you want to jump in here? I can see he's drowning. Let me see if I can jump in. No, it gets worse.
Cuba 3 times. I was not talking to people who were like, big advocates of the Cuban government. But they did say the issue is the blockade. The issue is the blockade. Get rid of the blockade. We'll figure it out from there. And that was, just to a person, that was the thing that people were saying. And I take that to heart.
Yeah, I would say, but clearly since 1959, they haven't had multi-party elections. There's censorship, political prisoners. I think it's important, Megan, just to make the distinction between what you want and what the Cuban government is. I mean, do you? Let me insist on this. It'll be the last time. Do you believe that Cuba is a dictatorship, Megan?
I believe that Cubans have access to their democracy in a way that we do not. For example, I think the Families Code was just sort of an incredible demonstration of popular democracy.
Okay. Do you get my point here, folks? This is the head of the DSA. They are getting softball questions from people who advocate for them in Jorge and Paulo Ramos. They want them to succeed. They're trying to help them, and they're burying themselves because these petulant children don't know what they're talking about. So when I hear people cheering this on, these bozos, I'm not worried in the least bit. How can I be? How can I be? I'm not done yet. I am not done. I got plenty more to get into on this with these folks. Especially with this idea about the United States being the reason for all of this turmoil in all of these countries. I got one question to ask. If the United States intervention in these countries was so bad, what about Russia? We'll be back.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Back, Reese on the radio. Shout out's coming up soon. Why does no one ever make this argument when it comes to Russia in the 1990s? What am I talking about? Let me play it again for you if you're just joining us. These members of the DSA, you might remember there's another guy, his family's from Peru. I think it's like Guillermo Gorilla. I don't know what his name is, whatever. He's another guy from the New York DSA talking about how his parents came from Peru to the United States. Talking about how Maoist his parents' home country was at the time. And he blamed the intervention, the imperialism of the United States. And what's her name? Why am I forgetting her name? The woman who does the 3 p.m. show on Fox. Her name escapes me. She's on now. But anyway, Martha McCallum. Yeah, that's her name. Said to him, was like, that doesn't make sense. So you go to the country that ruined your country? That doesn't make sense. And my exchange with that Haitian guy at the Sean Scanlon the press conference, I asked Haitian, wait a minute, the destabilization of Haiti is America's fault, and you came to America for that? I can't trust you. If I destroyed your home, how could I invite you into mine and not think every day you want to pay me back for that? Wouldn't you rather be home? You come into my country, we were supposed to believe that about all of those radicalized Muslims who were in Muslim countries, that they came here with an axe to grind because of things that we did in their country. You told us that. You said because of the wars and the war on terror. our Islamophobia. And then you invited these people in and said, you know what? We destroyed your country. Come on over to L.A. St. Louis looks great. Just come on even into our towns. We'll put you in homes. We'll feed you. We'll give you money. We'll give you EBT cards. Oh, and the reason why we can't go after you when you rob from us with all of that massive fraud, you could just say it's because we destabilized your region. But none of that happened with Russia. The Cold War. Anybody remember that? It was over in the 90s. The whole region was destabilized. They were starving. Food lines, bread lines. Right? What happened to all of that migration? We should have seen Russians everywhere. But we didn't. Why not? That never happened. I mean, you want to talk about American policy destabilizing a world power. And guess what? Hundreds of thousands of people did leave Russia. Legally. Weird. You want to know where they went? I looked it up. Where did they go? Hundreds of thousands of people left. Many skilled. That's right. Skilled people left. Where did they go? Mostly Europe, Israel, and Canada. Some came to the U.S. Some. But you want to talk about a destabilized. The 1990s brought hyperinflation, oligarch looting, collapsing life expectancy, the institutional chaos. Later came NATO expansion, sanctions. That was a narrative, by the way, pushed hard by Moscow. The West deliberately humiliated and weakened Russia. If we're to use the same logic, Russia should have been all over the place here. Nothing. Hell, you'd have a strong argument for more people. I mean, then I would say, no wonder those people want socialism. They all came here from Russia. No, nonsense.
The multi-party elections since 1959 in Venezuela is clearly still a dictatorship. So what's your relationship with these countries? Do you believe that Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, that they are dictatorships?
For us, expanding democracy, the small d democratic part of democratic socialism is core to what we stand for and what our vision for the world. We want to expand democracy in the electoral system. We want to expand democracy in our workplaces through labor unions and in our communities. So that's a core part of what we're doing. And that's what we're also very aware of our responsibility within the United States.
Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. No matter what the question, wash, rinse, repeat.
To influence U.S. policy. So when we're thinking about other countries, we want to expand democracy everywhere.
Is Cuba a dictatorship for you?
I think in the United States, it's hard for us to judge other countries being dictatorships when we have Donald Trump as president. When basic voting rights are under attack in the U.S., validated by the Supreme Court just a few months ago.
Basic voting rights are under attack. Not taken like they do in dictatorships. They're just under attack. What does this bozo think is under attack? Wanting voter ID. Removing race-based gerrymandering. That's voting rights under attack. That's what he calls dictatorship.
I think we have a lot of work to do in the United States to make sure we have a democracy.
Let me go back to Cuba. Do you think Cuba is a dictatorship?
There are things that the Cuban people themselves would want to change in their own system, but it's hard to do that when the blockade is such a severe. It's strangling their economy, and this is U.S. policy to make the economy scream. This is stated U.S. policy to put economic pressure on people to support regime change for business interests in the United States.
I understand, but maybe your hesitancy is...
Listen, I understand. I'm trying to help you. Do you not understand? I'm trying to help you. Okay? You need to say that these places are a dictatorship, and you do not want to do what they are doing. Do you understand what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to throw you, how you say, a lifeline. I'm trying to help you. What is it that you are not understanding, stupid boy? What are you not getting? I'm trying to throw you a lifeline. Let me fast forward this nonsense. Hold on. Here's Paula, trying also to give the white woman a lifetime. Listen, I'm trying to give you a lifeline. I'm trying to help you.
The Cuban government is. I mean, do you? Let me insist on this. It'll be the last time. Do you believe that Cuba is a dictatorship, Megan?
I believe that Cubans have access to their democracy in a way that we do not. For example, I think the Families Code was just sort of an incredible demonstration of popular democracy. And also, no, they don't have multi-party elections, which is a real problem. I also think we don't have access to our Constitution in ways that are really problematic. We're on like 50 years of the ERA not being passed.
It's got to be voted on!
50 years. It's been since the 70s.
For instance, Megan, you say that there are sort of democratic movements within Cuba, which perhaps there were in the 60s and the 70s and sort of at the beginning of the rise of the revolution. I think it's very hard to some Latinos to understand that. So I think I just wanted to sort of clarify. That's why for us as a podcast, it's super important for our listeners to understand where you all draw the lines when it comes to what you consider a true and flourishing democratic socialist movement and one that perhaps failed. No, perhaps the Cuban Revolution that sure had maybe a lot of promise, but turned into at least in my opinion, and I believe obviously my dad's opinion, a form of authoritarianism that is of course exacerbated by American imperialism.
So do you understand what's going on here, folks? Paula and Jorge are trying to get the DSA to understand that the critics are right, that democratic socialism turns into authoritarianism if unchecked. Do you get that? Should you be aware of that? Do you understand that you shouldn't give anybody an opening to say that that is what you're going to become? To which these two bozos cannot answer. Why? Well, I told you why. That it was already stated with Cliff Connolly in the steering commission.
So the two things that we're famous for is our commitment to a program and our hatred of the United States Constitution. And what the program does is it gives us a roadmap to revolution, and it gives us the obstacle that we finally will have to get over to have a revolution, which is the United States Constitution.
Do you get it now? Does everybody get it now? The left, do you get it now? Now, don't get me wrong. I know you want power. I know you want to completely overthrow the government you think is oppressing you. I mean, that's the way you view everything, is that you're being oppressed. But you do understand that giving you this power, you and you alone, unchecked, you are only going to be the thing or do the thing that our Constitution was built to prevent. And that's you dictating power to the rest of us based upon your own morality. You are moral. You are pure. Everybody should have. No one should be without at any cost. We will take from those who have, because the fact that they have makes them inherently evil. They have $1 billion. They must have done something. Underhanded, evil, cruel. They must have exploited someone. That's the only way wealth works. Why? Because that's your understanding of wealth. Your understanding of wealth is that it is stolen. It is not earned. And you believe that the world only earns the way that you do. Right? I'm not earning a lot. My friends aren't earning a lot. Everybody's not earning a lot. I don't know everybody, but I think everybody isn't earning a lot. Everybody's suffering because that's what they tell us in the mainstream news. They're all suffering. They're all unhappy. They're all not meeting their limits. And then you look at these folks, and I have someone to blame. Look at them. He made $1 billion. I can't make $1 billion. He must have done something cruel, and I'm a good person. I'm a decent person. I'm a fair person. I love everyone except him. He's a billionaire. Except him. He's got multi-million dollars. He must be evil. And you think that we should give the reins of power to you? To you? Well, you can arbitrarily dictate any day, any time, anywhere who the evil person is. Based on what? Based on what? An attitude, a vibe. That's my favorite one. A vibe. Everybody can feel what they want to feel until they can't. You find it interesting that a little boy can feel like he's a girl, but I could feel like I want to be a millionaire. But one of us is evil. One of us is misguided. Huh, that's interesting. So, why would I trust these people? Overthrow the Constitution, calling their movement a revolution. Revolutions usually mean death, at least where I come from. Revolution means somebody has to die. Lots of people. Because revolutions are met with resistance. That's what they're usually met with. Revolutions mean that some people are not going to go willingly. What do we do with them? And you think I would leave it to a bunch of petulant children who support terrorists? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Huh? Globalize the intifada? No, infatada? Whatever it is. I don't know. Enchilada? Who cares? I don't know. What? I'm supposed to trust those people? I'm supposed to trust those people to be in charge? I don't know, folks. I don't know. But like I said, everything that everyone's telling you on the news, especially CNN and MSNBC and the mainstream media, no matter who they are, online, on your feed, well, the Democrat Socialists of America are making headway. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Really? We're talking about the same news media that never interviews people in flyover country? Average Americans at all? Literally sees the country on the coastlines? What are they doing in San Francisco? What's going on in L.A.? New York? The rest of the country? Never a thought in their minds. While they tell us that socialism is the new norm. Sure it is, folks. Sure it is. I'm sure it's going to come a long way. I'm sure the black folks are going to be fine with just minimums. Bare minimums. Sure they're going to be okay with that. I don't know about you, but I know. Look, if I can, I'll draw back on my childhood. And I know this vividly, and my brothers and sisters, hell, I should call my brother, because he would remember this like it was yesterday. You know, when we got that welfare check with the food stamps, you know, the hard paper ones, when we got that money, that check to pay our rent or whatever it was, my mom went to the supermarket as soon as she got those little folder of fake money, that Monopoly cash. she would take that and we'd go to the supermarket and we would load up that shopping cart. And my mother used to say, as we walk through, this has got to last a month. This has got to last a month. We don't have another check. We don't have more food stamps coming to the end of the month. And I remember every month, year after year, it would be the 26th, maybe even the 24th of the month. Hell, if there were 31 days in the month, we'd hate it. I used to hate 31 days in the month, especially in my birthday month. 31 days! Damn it, we got an extra day. Food stamps would not come early. Only on the 1st. And we'd be those last 5, maybe even 7 days. Because we might overindulge. In those 7 days, eating nothing but cornbread. Grits even. For every meal for 7 days. It felt like the end of the world. It did. It felt like the end of the world. And what do you think is going to happen if these socialists are in charge, giving everybody, I don't know, it would only be described as a stipend, a monthly income? What are those families going to do? I mean, I don't want to sound horrible. What are the savage families going to do? Somebody's going to find a way to make some extra money because that's what they do. They tell you this all the time. Look at the conditions they're in today. Ask a young kid in the inner city why he sells drugs. Because my mom's on food stamps and on welfare and that ain't enough. And we got to make extra money for other things. Sometimes the check doesn't make it to the end of the month, so we need that extra money. Then that becomes the lifestyle. Every kid does it. At least every kid that tells me that they do it, that's why. Had to sell drugs to make ends meet. What do you think is going to happen under a socialism ideal? Oh, forget about it. Forget about it. It's going to be far worse. I think the kids are killing each other now. Wait until these guys get their pipe dream. Take a break. Coming back, more news, more views. I want to give a couple of shout-outs and also take some phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. It's Reese on the radio. We'll be back.
Spider-Man. Hey, he's your friendly neighborhood Reese on the radio. Right now on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, back. Reese on the radio. Let me get Ken in the car real quick. Thanks for holding, Ken. How you doing, sir?
Hey, no, I'm good. How you doing, Reese?
I'm all right. What's up?
Hey, the woman that that was in the audio there that you played, I was just wondering, do you want to go in half on a plane ticket to Cuba with me and we'll send her down there so she can see how democracy really works?
Yeah, that is Megan Romer, who says that she's been to Cuba 3 times. And it's interesting that they say they've been there 3 times, but yet can't bring themselves to call Cuba a dictatorship. Like the fact that they don't understand that it is because they know that that's only going to destroy their own argument.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words there if that's the case, because if you can't see that Cuba's a dictatorship, then I don't know what to tell you.
I think what they really want, Ken, the truth of this is they want a dictatorship of their own. I really do believe that, because they believe the kind of dictatorship that they would bring about would leave no suffering. So it's a benevolent dictatorship. But then again, aren't they all that way in the beginning? Right?
Well, that's what history says they were in the beginning, but not in the end.
Yes, right. They don't, everyone has a tendency to believe that they are far better than, it's like getting a new husband or a wife. Everyone presents well, and then they get comfortable, and you realize that they're a jerk, right? In the beginning, the courtship is taking them out to dinner, caring about the movies that they're interested in, or even their hobbies. But then you get comfortable and you marry them, and then the real you comes out. No, I've always hated Pottery Barn, sweetheart, but I just wanted to take you because it was the only way I could get you in the hay. You know?
Right.
It's, you know, you're always benevolent in the beginning. And then it comes that one line in the relationship where she says, what happened to the man I fell in love with?
Yeah.
And that's what all of us are going to be saying. We are all, especially socialists, they're going to go, what happened to the socialism I fell in love with?
Mm-hmm. You can't make this up.
Yeah, it's quite obvious. I know. I'm worried only because there's going to be an argument that's going to get dragged out for the next year because of it. And I'm going to have to keep reiterating this over and over again to some Nimrod who refuses to get it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, I have a few friends that are like that.
Yes. That's where you and I are unfortunately going to be inconvenienced with having to teach these people there is no democracy. We're a constitutional republic 101. That's it.
Yeah.
So I would say just get your talking points ready because they're all going to be repeating the same mantra. Just so you know. Because my favorite line is going to be, but our socialism is different.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure that's what Kim Jong-un said.
And Joe Biden was the best president ever.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, boss man. I appreciate you.
All right, Reese, you have a good one.
Thank you, man.
Later, brother.
You got it. Yeah, that's all it's going to be. Benevolent socialism in the beginning, and then implementation becomes hard and difficult, right? Governing becomes really difficult. And that's when the rubber meets the road. And people have to start realizing you have to do it by force. And then people don't comply. What happens then? You have to start making laws and rules. And it becomes stricter and stricter and stricter. Yeah, it's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people again. For those of you who, showed up at the birthday party at Stadium 15 on Friday. Thank you all for coming out. I know I can't remember all of you, but Nate was there. Linda Sinkowitz and her husband showed up. Maria and her husband Paul showed up. And these are all personal friends of mine, so I appreciate them. Chris B. was there. Had a great time seeing him. The coach, Greg Dillon, was there. I mentioned the Puyas, right? We ate dinner at the place they gave us a gift card to last night. In fact, I just finished the leftovers from that. We went down there. A lot of people gave me some other gift cards as well. Thank you for that. Very kind of you. I guess gift cards are okay. I don't usually get them or give them out, but I did use those two. I used the lids and I used the restaurant one last night. So I thank you for doing that. Everybody who showed up. Scott, of course, from the Harvest Bakery, baked the cake. Joey, who pretty much managed everything, and then Roland coming out to manage after the fact to see everybody. It was nice to see everyone give him a round of applause. My wife was absolutely over the top, beautiful during the entire event. By the way, I may need you folks to help me out on what I'm going to do for her birthday, which is on a Wednesday, September 2nd. I have to figure out something to do. So if you have some ideas, please send them to me at reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. Just send me some ideas if you have something. Maybe you have, like a hookup, as they say back in the day, that you think Roseanne would like. History and jewelry is a must. And if I have to spend money, I just will. So if you got something that you think that maybe you took your wife there, or maybe your husband took you there. You guys know Roseanne. You love Roseanne. Just give me an idea of some place I can take her that would be sort of a whirlwind thing. I got to make it up to her. We didn't do anything really great for her birthday last year because of the move. So I got to make it up to her. So I mentioned Harvest Bakery. I mentioned the Puyas, everybody who showed up and gave gifts. Of course, the folks, Pete and Dana at Stadium 15. And thank those guys for always giving me the opportunity to do that. And no, folks, I do not live there. I heard there was a whole bunch of people like, does he live here? Like, why are you looking all up in my business? No. You know, asking people. It's like, so how did you find this place? That we just found it. It was one of the places that Roseanne found while I was busy working, and she was running around, and she found a place that she knew I'd love it, and we fell in love with it. And we love all the people there as well. They became fast family. I need to thank Tim in Hamden, allegedly. I don't know if he lives there. People say he doesn't, allegedly. He was promoting my show on another network again. And again, I don't understand why, because I don't pay anybody to promote my show on other shows. But I thank you. Unsolicited promotion of this show on other shows, nobody loves that more than me. So thank you, Tim from Hamden, allegedly, for promoting the show. But I don't think that people got 100% right what I was saying on Friday. So I want to make this abundantly clear. Ryan Fazio is running for office, and it is absolutely important to me, valuable to me, that he wins that election against the incumbent Ned Lamont. And the only thing I said was that in the event that that does not work out that way, that I would definitely consider it. I would start thinking about it seriously after the fact if it did not go our way. That's all I said. And I mean it. From the bottom of my heart, I mean it. And a lot of people are very encouraged by that idea. I've not decided yet. Well, no, let me just say, I've decided that I am serious about it. That's all I'm saying. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Is that I think it's gotten to that point because, again, it's enough for me to talk the talk, but at some point you got to walk the walk. And I love doing what I'm doing here. I really, really do. I really love what I'm doing here. But it'd be nice. I think I could be effective. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So, again, Tim and Hamden, allegedly. Thank you for always promoting this program and this host. And, I can't really tell sometimes. It's like, am I a shock jock or your favorite talk show host? It's really hard to tell, but that's okay. I love the, ambiguity. It's hard for me to figure out. The mystery makes it all that more fun. It really, really does. So, all right, when we come back, is Ned Lamont the best candidate for affordability? And what happened with this mass shooting in Hartford? And why you should be happy you live in a state like Connecticut in spite of the gun violence in the inner city. And I think I really saw that come to life at the West Farms Mall this weekend. So I'll break that down for you. Tell your friends, be here in the 4 o'clock hour. You're not going to want to miss this because it may very well be the most controversial thing I've ever said about Connecticut with regards to race relations. So stand by for that. We'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll get our first check of weather and traffic with the BPS Traffic Center, and we'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. I went to see, I think it was Rob, in Coventry yesterday, the listener of the program. He had asked me about Fred in Middletown, the poet laureate, who did the third part of the Reese Man. And, he in his poem, which is somewhat praising, is somewhat critical of my meandering over and over again and, syntax and all this other stuff, about the way in which I present on radio. And he went on to say, it's like, it's like, does he in particular follow a format, no, but, that's just goes with the territory. People forget. And like, I never take offense. I love Fred. He's corrected me in the past. I love that he has corrected me. I am not too, filled up in my whole ego to have somebody correct me and just like, oh, yeah, what are you trying to say? I'm like, nobody's perfect. I know that I'm not. I'm good at what I do. I'm not perfect at what I do, but I'm okay with me. I'm so self-aware, right, and very sure of myself and all of my failings. I'm okay. I'm very okay. So when somebody makes a critique like that, I take it in stride. I'm just like, it's an opportunity to get better. But the other part is that the going on over and over again, people do not listen to the program as intent as some of the scallywags do. Right? The scallywags sit and listen to the show in its entirety. And radio, because people are listening, more people, believe it or not, are listening in 15-minute intervals, 10-minute intervals. They're quick drive here or there. It's where they listen. You can't dictate that. So you have to make sure that they get the point. And I'll tell you why this happens. Someone will call up and hear half of a statement and then make that the most horrible thing in the world I said. I was listening and he said such and such and such and such. And they were like, really? Where did you hear that? It was just at this time. And then you listen to it and you go, oh, he heard this part but didn't hear that part. So you have to reiterate your point. That's how radio works. You can be under the assumption everybody's sitting around for a whole hour or for 4 hours listening to the program. I know better. That's the reason why I do radio the way I do radio, because I'm a radio listener. That's all. That's how it works. So like I said, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and the criticism, fair, but I understand. But I love Fred. I loved him coming out, and thank you so much, Fred, for doing that. In fact, Kim said, if I knew Fred was going to be there, I'd have cleared my schedule. They love you, Fred. Look at that. I love Fred, too. He's great. And everybody said Fred, even Roland said Fred looked exactly how they thought he thought he would look. That's him now. Fred, stand by. I'm going to get you at the top of the hour, I promise, at 4 o'clock. We got to get our first check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is here. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. How we doing, sir? All right, first half done, second half underway of Reese on the radio. When we return, we'll take some phone calls. Fred, the poet laureate from Middletown, on the phone. Also, we'll talk about the press release from the Hartford Police Union president, James Rutkauski, or Ruddy as I call him. He's actually in a meeting right now. He may call me later on, but we'll save this till roughly about 4:30, and we'll see whether or not he'll come on to talk about this a little bit as well, about what's going on in Hartford with this mass shooting. I'll break all of that stuff down to you. Also, is Ned Lamont the affordability candidate? With everyone talking about affordability, does he have what it takes to deliver that to the state in this race? I think it's worth an answer. And we need to get to the bottom of it. Also, I cannot forget, let me give a round of applause to AQ, my man, Alex Q, who showed up yesterday. To see him there was probably, look, nothing against everybody else there. I loved you being there, but I did not expect AQ to be there. So I love you, brother. Thank you so much. And you and I are going to hang out really, really soon. AQ was it was such a great honor to meet him. And he saluted me when he left, and it warmed my heart, man. Literally, I almost choked up when he did it. God bless you, AQ. That's my boy right there. Anyway, we'll grab all of that in a second, so stand by. Let's get another check of weather and traffic on the 8s. Mark Christopher is back. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we are back. Reese on the radio here. And, of course, taking your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. I'm going to go through these real quick, and then I'm going to make my comments about the West Farms Mall and what I noticed there in a second. But let's get to him. The poet laureate himself, Fred in Middletown. Hello, sir.
Hey. So someone who speaks Chinese deciphered my mix of prolix and randomized syntax. I mean, that was a little spice. The thing was halfway to being a panegyric or an encomium otherwise. As you know, I made it as tight as possible.
You did. It was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
Listen, people do not understand that when you criticize my syntax or when I, meander, go on, and I veer off in different, that's a style of mine that I've become very comfortable with, that I often beat my own self up about, because again, my brain is moving 1,000 miles a minute, and it's a character. What do we call it? What does my wife call it? Not a character.
Well, I have a line on that. The people who love you, they don't care. They find it charming. Yes. And the people who hate you don't speak English nearly as well as you do. So you're in a Goldilocks zone there. Another thing is, I sense you putting effort into your speech over the last month. Yes. It's definitely manifesting. You're starting at the top down. You're using what I call big words or vocabulary words. And it seems to be working, even though it's counter, to theory. It's you're building it from the top down.
Right.
But I really also wanted to lay a heavy thanks to WTIC with their charge for the guns, that having you on 4 hours a day represents. Yeah. And so that was for real. Yeah. And then I had to throw that little bit in there. Yeah, and then as far as, we'll take it. You can be anyone you want to be. And if you remember in my Reese Guy 2, I took another shot. I said, full disclosure, I'm his severest critic.
Yes.
I would describe his chops as all over the place.
Right.
Best shoddy. But then there is no higher than to compare you to Terry Malloy and On the Waterfront. At the end of the day, he's got class. He's a contender. He's somebody.
Right.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, it would even be conspicuous if I didn't take a little.
No, it was because the person who mentioned it sort of said, "Does that guy like you?" And I went, "Yes, Fred does." But I got it when you said it, and I just went. It was completely true to form because it is something. You know what? You made me better in a lot of ways, and I even saw it afterwards. I know you did.
We got to keep each other honest. Closing with this, your theme song. It's by War. It's called Why Can't We Be Friends? Sometimes I don't speak right, but then I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, good point. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. As always.
Everyone had a great time, dude, right down to Boo Boo there. We all had a great time. You lit a fire under Jennifer. She wants to get back into radio. She did 10 years of college radio,
Yeah, exactly. I love the fact that there were so many people. They were really excited to see you there. And again, it goes to what I've always said about the people who call radio shows regularly. This is an opportunity not to just meet me, but some of the people they've heard on the radio frequently. And, it's almost like, those guys become celebrities, and I use that term loosely, in their own right. You know what I mean?
Well, they're foundational, and it's, someone calls them a radio. All right, thank you.
Thank you, my friend. You got it. Let me make sure that goes on hold. My buddy's there. Tom is in Thomaston. Hello, Tom.
Hey, hello, Reese. Hey, I got a prompt for you. May I?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Dear Fred, roses are red, violets are blue. Please keep your verbal critiques just to you.
He's okay, Tom. He's all right. He's a friend. He's a friend.
Hey, this is all my problem. It's not yours. I own it.
I hear you, buddy.
I didn't say this, Reese, but I heard someone say that poets are just failed musicians or failed writers. I didn't say that, but
I've never heard that. Who said something that? Who would have that sounds like something an angry writer. Was it Twain? Poe? Who said that? Who would have written such a horrible thing?
I don't know. Speaking of verbalage.
Yes.
Hassan Piker.
What about him?
That tool. Every other effing word out of his effing mouth is an effing F-bomb. Somebody, please give that guy a thesaurus.
You know what I've noticed about him? You know what's coming out about him that's really hurting his brand? Is that he's a Nepo baby with a crap load of money talking.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, a Nepo baby crying about all the wealthy people in the world and how they should share it while this guy does nothing. See if you can find that exchange with him and Charlie Kirk at this forum. He and Charlie Kirk are going back and forth, and Charlie Kirk is pretty much saying to him, forget about telling everybody else what to do with their money. Do it with yours. Lead by example. Something I've been saying for over 30 years. You guys are so concerned about people who are millionaires and billionaires. Well, all you have to do is become one and then spread the wealth and show us how to do it. You know?
Every year when we file our taxes, Reese, we are all allowed to put as much money into what we owe. We can go as high as we want.
That's right.
When we pay our taxes.
That's right. All we have to do is feel generous. Like if we're so generous and they're so, again, so more moral than us. Why don't they ever whip out the checkbook and just go, here's $1 million, U.S. government. Can you please give it to some needy folks?
Yeah. Margaret Thatcher, right? She had it right in the
That's
70s.
Right. That's right.
They're great when it's other people's money.
That's right. Until that, exactly. As soon as that runs out, what do you do next?
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
What do you do? Bye.
Thank you, man. Scott's in the car. Hello, sir.
What's up, buddy? This is the Scott from Glastonbury you met out there in
Yes,
West
Scott,
Coast.
absolutely. Drove an hour and a half to come out and gave me inspirational words. Thank you, Scott.
Yes, sir. So, when you were talking about deceptively about socialism and communism, and you made that example about girlfriend and wife.
Yeah.
It reminded me of this funny comment that someone gave to me. They said, you will never hear your girlfriend fart until she becomes your wife.
That's right.
So everything gets held back until the real person comes through.
That's right. What happened to the woman I fell in love with?
The other thing, as you were just talking about, like verbalizing, it's really funny that I've always noticed that when a lot of people on the left, they always use articulate language what's a better way to put it? On the right, most of the time I hear articulate language being to communicate correctly, a tool for communication.
Right.
But on the left, it's more often a weapon of deception.
Yeah, always. Always. That's how you get reproductive health. That's how you get reproductive health, you know?
Yeah, and the redefinition of every type of word possible. I've never seen so many redefinition of words ever. Yeah, but I just wanted to call and tell you that I had a real good time meeting the folks out there on Friday. That was a good time.
You had a great time. You met one of my best friends, Chris B., and you guys chopped it up for a while, so it was nice to have you meet somebody who's very important in my life. And thank you so much for taking the long drive.
You got it, pal. Well, that was about it for me today, pal.
You got it. Have a good one.
Take care, man. Have a good one.
You're right. Mark, I want to go to you. You know what? Let me just do this. Are you going to be brief? Because I have to talk about my experience at the West Farm Mall real quick.
I'll be real brief.
Go for it.
But isn't it, tell me, and I hope you get a chance to talk to Jane Rutkauski, the HPD.
He's calling in the next break.
But check this out and ask him, did it really need to take a mass shooting for the media and the public information officer from HPD, Lieutenant Boycefort, to talk about what's been going on every weekend, all summer long. 200 to 300 people. You saw this post I put up 3 weeks ago of a train hitting one of the cars, pushing it down the tracks out of sight. And you know, I know TV reporters, the television stations all had this footage, and they refused to show it.
Yep, they refused to air it.
From the mayor. Ask them where the comment from the mayor is.
You 100% right.
200 to 300 people, and we need somebody shot dead and 4 other ones injured, and now we talk about it? What, were they going to let the whole summer go and not discuss it?
Yeah, because they couldn't do that while they were trying to harangue us with the Joe Magnano shooting.
You're right. All right.
That's the whole.
Get it off my chest.
No, I appreciate you,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you.
Mark from West Hartford, as usual. All right, let me get this out of the way. This is important on the backdrop of this conversation we're about to have with James Rutkauski. You know, Roseanne and I go to the West Farms Mall when we can. Usually we go there to see our good friend Beatrice, who works at the Tesla section. And we'll go there and hang out with her. We love Beatrice. Beatrice gave us our test drive of the Tesla, which is why we love the car so much. If we were going to buy one, we were buying one because of Beatrice. She really sold that car to us. But we'll go there, and it's right across from Lids, where I got my hat that I'm wearing today with the Reese on the Radio logo. I think I'm going to pick up another one today. But when we were walking through the mall, I couldn't help but notice something. And for me, I'll tell you that this thing is indicative of where you live and how safe the place you live in is. And it's going to sound controversial because it is controversial. Okay? The mall was crawling with white kids. It was. It just was. Were there black kids there? Sure. Hispanic kids there? Sure. But there was an overwhelming presence of white kids there. There are security guards that are there usually, but I didn't see them. They were very scattered. But on certain days, there are a lot of security guards. Armed ones, I might add. But not on this day. They were all there. Girls were going from place to place, from Hollister's to American Eagle to PacSun, whatever it was we walking by. I was like, goodness gracious. Teenage kids, girls and boys, just walking by. Boys doing what they normally do. It was like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It was. And I felt safe. It was safe. It was the way the mall is supposed to be. Young kids at the mall, that's what they do. The nerds are at GameStop or the role-player game shop. The girls are buying clothes. The boys are probably, just scoping, checking out the girls, laughing and joking, doing silly stuff, being performative for the girls. That's what being a teenager at the mall is supposed to be. And I'm sorry, it looked like America. Again, yes, there were black kids. Yes, there were Latino kids. Clearly, you could tell who they were, their style of dress. They were all hip-hoppity and stuff, but it was no different than what I saw in the 80s. And it was safe. It was beautiful. And I looked at it, and the one thing ran through my mind, and I said, you know what? Despite what happened in the city in the middle of the night with a mass shooting, leaves one dead and several others injured. That's the exception. That's not Connecticut. This isn't New York. It isn't. It's not the Bronx. It's not Brooklyn. Connecticut is still white. It is. It just is. And I'm sorry. This may offend you, but I don't care. It's a damn good thing. Now, if you don't like that, ask yourself the question, why? Why don't you like it? What am I revealing? What am I saying out loud that makes you uncomfortable? Huh? You can't trust certain things? Because that night in Hartford didn't have to end like that. But 9 times out of 10, it does. And no one can openly express honestly why. But you know why. You know why. Let's just keep it real, as they say, huh? Isn't that how they say it? Keep it 100. Keep it a buck. Is that what they say? Keep it a buck. Let's get a check of the weather and traffic. On the 8th, Mark Christopher's here. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, James Rutkauski, the police union president and on-scene supervisor of that mass shooting, will join us in a couple of minutes, roughly about 5 minutes. He'll be on the phone to talk about what happened at this event and his press release that went out as well, talking about how the city knows where these problem spots are in Connecticut and is doing nothing to shut them down. There are after-hours spots, some of illegal activity happening in them. The police knows, the city, I guess, plays ignorance. And there aren't enough officers who want to be on the job, who can work at night to keep the citizens safe. And it's a recipe for death. And I don't know if these people really care. I really, in my heart of hearts, I don't really think they care. Because if you think about it, do any of these people have any value? Like, let's think about it. Do they? These people who are shooting up these joints, if you are in an illegal establishment, putting your life at risk in the middle of the night, knowing that these people don't care about or have any regard for human life, how valuable are you to a politician? Knowing full well there's probably not a registered voter amongst them. They're just the working poor trying to get by, hate the system, doesn't trust the system, probably blames the system. For them, the politicians, it's just thinning out the herd. Yeah, kill themselves. It'd be one thing if they were protecting something in Hartford, but what do you folks tell me all the time? There ain't nothing there. What are they protecting? There is no downtown, right? We don't have to protect it. You got a mayor who's winning elections with 4,000, under 5,000 votes in a town that has well over 150,000 people. Who cares? Sure, they're going to kill themselves. Yeah, if the news media covers it, then we've got to cover it, but nobody cares. These people have no value to them. We'll talk to Rutkauski in a minute. He can't co-sign what I'm saying. I could say what I'm saying, but, I digress. Another check of weather and traffic on the 8th with Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right. Reese on the radio. We'll get to James in a second. This is coming from, I got this from the Deputy Chief of Staff, Christian Corza, at the mayor's office in Hartford. He says, I am heartbroken by the senseless act of violence that occurred overnight in the city of Hartford, resulting in the loss of one life and the injury of 4 others. We will keep the public updated in the coming days as we come to better understand the details of the incident Sunday night. We ask anyone who has information to call the Hartford Police Department tip line at 860-722-TIPS or 860-722-8477. On background, the city of Hartford is working hand in hand with the Hartford Police Department and our code enforcement staff to ensure resident safety, to hold any establishment out of compliance with city ordinance accountable, is their response. And that response comes after the police union president, James Rutkauski, put out a statement saying, in part, what has been missing is sustained follow-through on the civil side. Police can respond to a call. Police cannot revoke a permit, truly enforce occupancy, or object at a liquor renewal hearing. Those tools sit with the city and state and used consistently. They close problem locations. Used sporadically, the location reopens and we start over. That man is James Rutkauski. He's on the line with us now. Great point in your salvo, if you will, in a press release to not just to the city, but to the mayor's office that says that, they're not tying your hands. They are creating a recidivism of violence in the city that you have to answer to. Yes?
Reese, good afternoon. Good to hear from you. And yes, to your question. Absolutely. This has been an ongoing issue for as long as I've been a police officer, and that's going on 22 years.
What is the status right now of the police department overall? I know we had some people who have resigned. I don't know if you've had like a kind of hemorrhaging of officers as of late, but I do remember back during the during the Joe Magnano melee, if you will, that we were going through in the news media, there were some officers who had resigned as a result, or at least considered it as a result. Is that continuing, or is that dust settled?
No, that's continuing, Reese. And the recent legislation that just came out that said that if I'm in within 250 feet of a polling station as a police officer, I can be arrested on a Class C felony. I just don't know how the state of Connecticut consistently wants to take a theoretical dump on the police consistently. Like, at what point in time does the message change? And it hasn't. How are we going to hold on to people? I am the president of a police union, in a Democratic state in a Democratic town, and I am in constant battles with legislation and the administration. How is that possible?
I don't get it either. And you would think, I guess two things could exist in one space, because the Democrats are often screaming and hollering about how they, want to protect worker unions, and unionized work is something that they often worked with, but law enforcement is just not one of them. That whole thing about the 250 feet away really astonishes me, for the simple fact that this was an administration and a legislature that said that they were concerned about ICE being positioned at polling places, not police. They made it clear that police officers were following the letter of the law when it came to the Trust Act. What brought this on?
I don't have any idea. And I'll tell you something that I find humorous, that the police, in the 2020 Police Accountability Bill, that we're supposed to, as police officers in the state of Connecticut, get a mental health evaluation every 5 years. I think that our legislators should pass a law saying they need a mental health checkup every 5 years, because this doesn't make any sense.
This incident that took place at this, was it a nightclub? Is that what this place is? A regular sort of a watering hole? What kind of place is this?
It is a local establishment that our Southeast commanders and community service officers have been working on for well over a year. And again, it is a collaborative effort. If you want something done, and it's always like this, you need the police department to be on board, you need political backing, and then you need the state on the prosecution side of this in order to execute effective change. And we don't have that. It's not that type of situation. We haven't got to that point. I'm hoping, and it's unfortunate, that we have this incident that could be a catalyst for change about these types of establishments.
You say in your letter, your press release, officers in the city spend their weekend nights cycling between the same locations. A disturbance at one venue, then the next, then back again, until 3 or 4 in the morning. Some of these are licensed businesses that have generated complaints for years. Others are unlicensed operations running after legal closing hours with no occupancy limits, no security requirements, and no accountability to anyone. Every officer in this department can tell you where they are. This is not new information. Are you suggesting, and I think it's important to ask, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm asking, have we come to the point where we do the old untouchables things and we have raids at these places to close them down?
That would be a question in a political arena, because we're capable of doing that, but the outcome of that is a political storm. And when you say a political storm, how could it be? It's an illegal establishment operating outside the legal hours. That's not. Why would that be political? Does somebody have a political point to make that they should be allowed to be, one, unlicensed, serving alcohol, and working all hours of the night? Yes. I'm telling you that these establishments have continued. So think of this. If an average establishment makes $10,000, an illegal establishment that opens up at 2 a.m. in the morning and runs till 5, they make $5,000 a night. And we both know that those establishments make well over that, but we'll just round it up.
Sure.
So we'll say they make $10,000 a weekend profit. That's $500,000 a year.
Wow.
Do you not believe that that money has some sort of sphere of political influence within the city of Hartford and within the state? And those are small organizations. What about the ones that are bringing in millions of dollars? Who do you think is getting paid, Reese, to look the other way? Because they've existed for as long as I've been there, and they haven't gone away. So what is the reason? The police haven't changed. The political environment has changed. The acceptability of these type of environments that run counter to a community are allowed to exist.
In spite of the fact that we are seeing violence at these establishments, if not every weekend, every other, especially during the summer, these are becoming more and more a hotbed of violence or violent activity.
So, Reese, and I mean this, going on 22 years, I have lost count of the amount of homicides that I have been on at after-hour clubs or clubs that have not had the proper security. And we're talking about shootings, homicides, rapes, noise complaints, evading accidents, property damage when everybody just decides to park on everybody's lawn because they're going to the club. These are constant complaints the city of Hartford, the police department has to deal with, but no one's getting out of their bed at 2:30 in the morning to come down to say howdy to Lieutenant Rutkauski at a mass shooting environment. There's nobody there except the command staff.
That's it?
Who else is going to be there? We have consistently petitioned. I believe the occupancy, and I'm not positive, for that establishment is 400 people. If you walk into that building, I have no idea how it has a 400-person occupancy. I really do not, because the occupancy, based on my understanding, is a formula of how many people could be put in a square footage area and how many people have egress, how many doors allow them to safely exit in what we would classify as a fire or a critical incident. But there were quite more than 400 people in that general area on that scene, because I was there.
And you are certain that the powers that be, or at least the public officials in that area, know exactly what's going on, and they have done nothing but hogtie you and law enforcement to enforce the law and close these places down to keep people safe. Because part of this is prevention, but you're not even allowed to do that.
There's only so far we can go. There are zoning laws, there are license and inspection. Again, now if you have an after-hours home, like I'm now, so say we have someone who wants to buy a 3-family house, and we'll say maybe it's on Homestead Street in Hartford, and this isn't an advertisement for that after-hours club or the numerous after-hour clubs on Homestead.
Right.
It's a 3-family home, and someone buys it and then converts the basement into a after-hours club, and then someone wants to claim that, oh, I sleep on the first floor. Well, now you have a legal battle that's going to cost money. And what I find humorous is the city has no qualms about spending money battling me in multiple grievance arenas, but they're gun shy, and that's a bad terminology.
Well, I got you. Yeah, no pun intended.
Apprehensive to spend money in the legal arena to make sure that the community safe and these after-hour clubs aren't properly policed.
Damn.
I have written arrest warrants. I know what it takes to shut these down, and it has to have all three elements: the police, the political leverage that are willing to take the heat from the community members that are going to complain because they're going to be losing millions of dollars from these clubs. So if someone's taking away your income, there are going to be complaints made. And then the state has to be willing to sit down there and appropriately prosecute these cases.
So this would go right back to my point. They don't care whether or not somebody dies at these events. They're more interested in the influx of money that comes from them rather than the lives that are at risk inside.
I don't want to speak for...
Okay, you don't have to, but that's what I'm hearing. I mean, I don't know about you.
I know that the men and women that I serve with care about the people that are consistently put at risk. And we've seen it, and we know, and again, I can drive you around any Friday or Saturday night. If you want a good example of the chaos that happens in Hartford, go to Colt Park in Hartford off of Wormy Avenue.
Yeah, I know this place.
On a Friday or Saturday afternoon, and you're going to go, holy Christmas. But that's the beginning of it every weekend, and it just continues to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Damn.
And we do the best we can to police it, but what are 20 police officers really are effectively going to do for the community when there's anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people?
Yeah, nothing. They put their own lives at risk with those odds.
And we do. And we put our lives at risk to try to make sure that our community is safe. And it's frustrating. And we are frustrated with this because we look at it and go, the community suffered again.
All right. You know what? Offline, I want to talk a little bit more about this with you. This is because you're right. The people who are going to be the most harmed by this are not, they're not getting a fair shake in this. I mean, it's bad enough that they go to these things, but they run the risk of losing their lives because there's nothing shutting it down. You have to shut it down. Like, I don't see any other avenue. You have to shut this down, or else we're just going to see more and more mass shootings. It's lawlessness out there. It's the OK Corral in these places.
It is, and there are a lot of establishments in the city of Hartford that run great restaurants and great bars, and they do it the right way, and I want to give them credit because too often we get centered on what everybody else is doing wrong.
Right.
But in this situation, there's no way in God's good green earth, if you were out there, that you could have any semblance that what was going on was legal.
Yeah. Well, buddy, we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you for sending us the press release. And if you get any new details on this, especially if you get a perp, let us know, okay?
Absolutely, Reese. Good to talk to you.
Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you. James Rutkauski, ladies and gentlemen, Hartford Police Union president. And we'll take a break. We'll come back. Music news coming up, and the affordability question, and plus your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Mark Christopher's back with traffic and weather on the 8s in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I don't miss that. I'll tell you that much. School shopping, that's for the birds. Y'all can keep that all day. News. I don't know any of these people either. Some kid named The Kid Leroy, an Australian singer and songwriter who did a song with Justin Bieber, turns 23. You know I don't know who this kid is. Little Pump, I do know he is a rapper. I've heard of him before. Not sure why I even care. But he is turning 26. Phoebe Bridgers, an American singer-songwriter, turns 32. These are all children. These people I know. Donnie Wahlberg, singer and founding member of New Kids on the Block, now on Boston Blue, is a regular. Formerly of Blue Bloods on CBS. He turns 57 today. Wow, just a couple of years older than him. Is today the 17th of August? Out of the heavens, August 1769, born I Wonder Why with the thoughts to rhyme. That is none other than Pasta Noose of De La Soul, one of my favorite groups of all time. Not on my list. Belinda Carlisle of the Go-Go's and she turns 68 today. In other music news, in 1959, Miles Davis released his landmark album, Kind of Blue. In 1969, the year of my birth, the Woodstock Music and Art Fair concluded its historic 3 days near Bethel, New York. I was born the day before. In 1974, Eric Clapton scored his first U.S. #1 with 461 Ocean Boulevard. And in 1991, this is a momentous day, in 1991 on this day, Nirvana filmed their music video that would send them through the stratosphere for Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's right. Let's get our check of weather and traffic on the 8s. Mark Christopher is back. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Did you know that, Mark? Today marks the day in 1991 Nirvana filmed Smells Like Teen Spirit. It would be a couple of months later that we would all be blown away by that first track. I mean, probably one of the most recognized guitar riffs ever.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, without a doubt.
From politics to news to music to movies and anything above the sun and outer space and beyond, it's Reese on the radio. Damn, he's good. Only on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm reading this because I know the mainstream media will ignore it ever existed, but a letter has been sent out by Senator Stephen Harding, Senator Paul Ciccarella, Senator Henry Martin, Eric Berthel, and Rob Sampson and Jason Perillo to the governor. And it says, for immediate release, several Senate Republican lawmakers are urging the Lamont administration to heed the call from the police union and step up the state's collaboration with the city in addressing the spike in violence. Quote, we urge the Lamont administration to listen to the understaffed Hartford Police Department, which is at a self-described tipping point, end quote. Collaborate, be more active, revoke permits, enforce occupancy limits, object to liquor licenses, renewals, and bad businesses. People are getting shot and killed, and this is not just a Hartford issue. We are seeing this across the state. Take action now and address this persistent and senseless violence. Prioritize public safety. Listen to the brave men and women on the front lines. Make sure they have the tools and resources they need to keep the community safe. And this is also something that has to be addressed in the inner city. Community leaders like the Black Alliance, Hartford, BLM 860, whoever they are, the local chapter, the NAACP. These are your folks getting killed. They are. And I know that it's not, productive, lucrative. You can't send out fundraising emails while you try to protect the lives of actual black people being killed by other black people. I get it. It's hard to write that press release because it would then be admitting a problem that has persisted for generations. But you have to be involved. And if I have to take the Thanos route by saying, screw it, I'll just do it myself, fine, I'll do it myself. But seriously. And no one's going to get involved because I said they have absolutely no political value to these people. They don't. There is nothing for them to gain by saving the lives of these people in these communities. None. They're not going to get an attaboy. They're not going to get great press from it. They're not going to gain one vote from it. There's not one person that is sitting around going, the violence is happening in the inner city. It's got me thinking about voting for... No, it doesn't. So this will persist. More people will die. Who cares? Who cares? And look, there's some people in the black community who say to me often, Reese, you just catering to those white folks. Let's consider it. You'd be surprised at what they're telling me. Because they are. I know they are. Because I've been saying it for the longest. I know it's true. Why care? They don't. Like, why would I invest myself into a community that's killing itself? Like, how am I supposed to save a life you don't care about? It sounds like, you know what I mean? It's like, what? If someone is intentionally drowning, what would I run out there and try? If I'm swimming towards you and you're just telling me, no, get away, I'm actually trying to inhale water. Like, what am I running out there for? Oh, you're trying to kill yourself. Oh, my bad. I was doing my due diligence as a human being trying to prevent someone from dying. What an idiot. Oh, you guys want to continue to go to the after-hour spot that has no security and people are going to be bringing firearms? Oh, I'm sorry. I was under the impression you didn't want to die today. Oh, your life is that worthless? Okay. So, yes, they are. Now, this is bad. I'm going to find the track. KRS-One. There's an album. It's going to come to me. It might be the album Sex and Violence. But there's this one piece that he has in the album. It's like one of the little excerpts in the album, a little skit part, where it's two white guys talking about all these years we did all of this horrible stuff to black folks, and now we don't have to do anything because they're doing it to themselves. Lynching them, Jim Crow. redlining. We don't have to do any of that anymore. We don't have to oppress them at all. They're killing themselves. And they won't even step up to even protest that. They'll just continue to allow the violence and the poison and all of it. What? Why would I even bother? You know what? If I didn't want any black people in my community, all I had to do was wait. They're going to off themselves anyway. And I don't like those black people living here, but you know what? Give it time. Soon they'll just kill themselves out of existence. Yeah, it sounds harsh, but go ahead, focus. Real, go ahead. Focus on the guy who says he'll wait for you to kill yourself and call him the bad guy. Right, for thinking it. How dare he think it while he sits there and watches it? Well, you pay no attention to it. Hey, don't pay attention to the murders and the killings going on over here. Don't pay any attention to that. Hey, kids are dying. Yeah, and what? It's a black thing. You wouldn't understand. Yeah, I get it. Listen, I understand. I'm black, right? I inherently understand. It's in my DNA. I get it. You know, ever so often I say it to myself, you know, my black blood, you know, this black Negro blood running through my veins. Sometimes I just say, and I wake up one morning and I go, I feel like selling a drug. I don't know what it is. Just something inherently in my melanin. Yes. I feel like walking around with an illegal pistol and then just shooting at other random black folks. I don't know. It's just that's something in the DNA. It's inherently black. It's authentically black. I don't know. I have to fight the urge every day. Somebody, give me a tuna casserole. Quick. Turn on Dawson's Creek. Stat. I need more whiteness before I get the urge. I'm getting the urge. I know it sounds foul, but I don't care. This is just logic to me. It is. You know it is. Rick, how you doing, buddy? Hold on, let me fix your phone here. There you go. How you doing, Rick? Rick, are you not there? Oh, we lost him. Too bad. Hey, you know who's perfect for this conversation? White Mike is in the house. What's up, buddy?
Oh, man, I got so many things I want to talk about. I'm going to start with the WNBA. Dude, I've come to the realization that the worst thing you can be in that league
is a white woman?
White and pretty. White and pretty. Because Cameron Brink got her ribs caved in by a big butch lesbian named Brianna Stewart this weekend. And Cameron Brink, early in her career, basically had a struggle session where she came out and said, we have nothing in the WNBA except for black women's struggles, so I love black people. But apparently she should have said she loved lesbians because they kicked her butt.
Oh, well, why is this relevant?
It's relevant to my life, dude, because I don't like seeing pretty white women get hurt, okay? But all this stuff you're talking about with these, they keep calling these things mass shootings. They're not mass shootings.
No.
They're shootouts. There's a difference.
Yeah, well, this one was this one a shootout? I don't think this was a shootout. I think this was one lone gunman shooting towards other people.
Yeah, but it's the people he's shooting. This is not like, you know, depressed Skip with the KFMD shirt going to school shooting people who are mean to him.
Right.
This is some criminal shooting other criminals who happen to be there.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more.
This is nothing that normal DC people have to worry about. And if all the cops want to talk about how you can stop it, you just have no people with melanin darker than a paper bag can gather in groups of more than 3 after 6 o'clock. That's it.
And you know what? It may have to be that way. What else are we going to do? I mean, listen to me. I put it this way. When people thought the stop and frisk, in fact, people still believe the stop and frisk thing was too harsh. But the bottom line was, as Giuliani correctly stated, it saved black lives, not anybody else. It's not like we were stopping and frisking them so they didn't shoot white folks.
when they freak out about that, they imagine like some nice guy in a quarter zip and some khakis walking down the street getting harassed by the man. No, they're going after people who look like criminals.
Yes.
If you don't want to get treated like a criminal, don't dress like a criminal and act like a criminal.
That's exactly the point. And again,
if this was 85, they're going after guys with Kangol hats and unlaced Adidases. Okay? Now they're going after guys with skinny jeans and whatever the hell they wear.
Yeah.
Don't dress like it. Sorry. And if we got to lean on the black community, save the black community, I like black people enough to say I kind of like having you all around.
Yeah.
And if we got to lean on you for a bit, maybe we got to do that.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing 100 of you die every weekend.
Exactly.
Me, I said that. Me, White Mike, said I don't want all black people to die.
There you go.
I'd also like for certain parts of every city in the country to be accessible to me without having to worry about having to have a shootout.
Indeed. Indeed. And again, who doesn't get that? Who doesn't get it? It's insanity. I got to tell you, it's absolute.
I might like to go to a hot chicken spot at 1 a.m. I might like to go get some hot chicken. I don't want to die for it. And if I go to where the hot chicken is, I'll die. I don't go to churches anywhere. There's churches chickens in a good neighborhood. Churches got good chicken that ain't worth dying for.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting shot by a bunch of Vietnamese dudes or white guys named Skyler.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, my friend, as always.
You're welcome, man.
Good
luck.
Let me go to these guys. Let me get to Chris, who's in West Hartford. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Reese. How's it going?
I'm good, sir. What's up?
Good. The best way to handle Hartford and to fix this thing is do what Rudy Giuliani did in New York City in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he beefed up the police department by 50%.
Mm-hmm.
They went from 28,000 to 42,000. He brought in a very tough commissioner, Bratton, I think his name was.
Yep.
But basically that did it. And he had a very strong internal affairs. He told these new cops, he said, "You guys better not screw around.
Indeed.
We'll just kick your. We'll take you out."
Chris, he had an administration, Giuliani did, that not only wouldn't fall for the rabble-rousers like the Al Sharptons and the Jesse Jackson when they came into town and called everything racist, and at the same time, he had a zero tolerance for crooked cops.
Exactly. He knew that if he brought in cops and they went crazy like they did down in New Orleans, he said, "No, you can't do that.
Right.
You got to come in. You got to do your job right. No fooling around. Don't try to shake people down."
Yep.
Because we'll be on you real quick if you do that.
And I think it was because of his background in shaking down the mob. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That was his. That was pretty much his career, was going after guys who were, in essence, sort of dirty dealing. So he really had a zero tolerance for that, no matter who it was, be it those in the city or those who worked for him.
Yeah, and he was very successful. What happened was after 2 years, student test scores went up by 46%.
Damn.
2 years after that, they went up another 44%. He brought back safety to the neighborhood.
Quality of life. Quality of life, Chris. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, and he just made it so it wasn't profitable for the drug gangs to sell drugs, because instead of having 4 or 5 cops bust you, they'd have 20 cops come in with cruisers and take you down, take your guns, take your money, take the drugs. And they did this all the time. And finally, there was just no more profit in drug gangs.
100%.
And it made it a much safer city. But you're going to need Lamont, Arolopoulos, I guess, in the city council to get together and say, we got to spend more money, hire more cops.
Yeah.
You got to get up to 500 from 300.
Exactly. You're spending a whole bunch of money on the school system, and that's going bankrupt and with nothing to show for, while we're losing cops and more lives. It makes no sense, sir. Thank you, Chris,
that's
man.
True.
I appreciate you calling back, man.
Thanks a lot.
You got it. All right, stand by, everybody. I promise I will get to your phone calls in due course. We got to get another check of weather and traffic on the 8th. Mark Christopher's back. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
All right. Wow, I actually have time for this. I didn't think I was. It's now time for a moment of dope. I had it right. Come on.
Well, I think it's a family decision, and we should respect, like everybody's privacy.
It is a family decision, but it makes everyone safer because so many people have gotten the vaccinations. Tens of thousands of people are not dying.
There's a lot of people who get the vaccine and it's dying right now.
No, that's not true.
So, no, it is true.
No, that's not true.
Fox News says the truth.
Fox News says it's true, but that's definitely not true.
I hear a lot of times people feel it's a rare event that fully vaccinated people may die. I happen to be the senior advisor to Governor Hogan in the state of Maryland. In the last 6 to 8 weeks, more than 40% of the people that died in Maryland were fully vaccinated.
That's right. That was Dr. Robert Redfield responding to a CNN reporter that was talking to a Hispanic man, trying to tell him that he needed to get vaccinated. He was coming out of a private school. And the Hispanic man was saying that, the school, in fact, had taken a position that they weren't going to vaccinate those children because they were concerned about what was going to happen to those kids, and they didn't want those kids to get vaccine injured. And the CNN reporter went down there to smugly tell those folks, you need to get vaccinated because, it's going to help you. It's going to prevent you from getting infected. And that Hispanic man said, I don't think that's true. I don't care what you're saying. I don't think that's true. And then he went one step further. He said, I don't know. Fox News, they tell the truth. That had to drive him through the wall. If Fox News, they tell the truth. He didn't like that.
Well, I think it's a family decision, and we should respect, like everybody's privacy.
It is a family decision, but it makes everyone safer because so many people have gotten the vaccinations. Tens of thousands of people are not dying.
There's a lot of people who get the vaccine and it's dying right now.
No, that's not true.
So, no, it is true.
No, that's not true.
Fox
News tell the truth. They tell the truth. And you know what? I don't care if that kid isn't illegal. You can stay, brother. You can stay. Let's get some weather and traffic on the 8s. Mark Christopher's back. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hey, I want to thank, again, everyone who showed up at the birthday party, who watched the program. Of course, all of my guests from Chris Shea, George Austin, Todd Wood, or L. Todd, who showed up. Jackie, of course, thank you. Who else did we have on the program? I feel like, of course, Fred, Poet Laureate was there. Of course, Roseanne Rowland, Joey for producing the show. Just all of you who showed up. AQ, I see you. You know I love you, brother, and you damn right. If I do it, you definitely are coming with me, my friend. Just everybody who did. I also want to send a shout out to the Danbury, Connecticut Republican Town Committee, who shared the show today. And there appears to be a post that came from Sheila. Hello, Sheila. Hello, Sheila. Sheila says, why in the world are you sharing Reese and his extreme right nonsense? Oh, wait. Sheila. Let me hear you, Sheila. I'm extreme? I'm extreme right? I've never heard anyone ever refer to me as such. Extreme right? Really? Now, don't get me wrong. Am I conservative? Hell yeah. Strong conservative? Absolutely. But extreme? Nothing. Not one. Name a position, Sheila. If you can, Sheila. Name a position of mine that's extreme. And then compare it to anything you stand for. I will put everything I believe up against your most moderate position. And I bet you we'll find out that you couldn't be further from the truth. I bet you are through the roof extreme. How you feel about mutilating kids? I'm nowhere near that. I'm pro-life. You are actually talking about surgically removing body parts on children who can identify as transgender as early as 3. Unless, of course, you think that's extreme. Huh? Do you think that's extreme, or do you think it's up to the parents or the child? Like, what are we talking about extreme? Like closed border extreme? Huh? Not calling it reproductive health when it is murder? Is that extreme? Huh? How about an education system that actually does the thing, like educate, and doesn't get a raise when they don't? Is that extreme? Huh? Is it too extreme to not want blacks to kill each other in record numbers in inner cities? Is that too extreme? Me actually thinking that Black Lives Matter, especially when they're at risk of being taken by other black lives, is that extreme? Like too out of the mainstream on that one? Not only caring about life in the womb, but when it's outside of the womb, living in an inner city? Huh? Pro-lifers can be so extreme. Huh? How about legal immigration into the country so that while you're here, you have some actual skin in the game by paying taxes, and not the ones that the rest of us can't avoid, like sales tax, but like actual tax, like income tax? That too extreme? Sheila, stop it. You guys use those words like you don't know what they mean, which again is kind of the point, isn't it? It's used as a cudgel. He's extreme. And then when people listen to me, they just go, I don't know what you're talking about there, Sheila. I'm just a normal guy. Just a normal guy. Want normal things. That's all. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unless, of course, that's too extreme. What's up, Mark? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
What's up, man?
I have a question I'd like to run by you regarding Aaron Stewart.
Okay, it's a blast from the past. What's up?
Well, I grew up, born and raised in New Britain. I don't know her, never met her, but I did go to high school with her with her father and his brother. So I'll tell you how old I am.
Goodness gracious. You wait. You went to high school with the father and the brother? How did you work that out?
Well, they were both at New Britain High the same time I was. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Was his father getting a GED or something like that?
But here's my question to you. You're on top of this stuff. They
Okay.
pushed. I'm Republican. They pushed her out of the race. Understood.
Okay.
If she's guilty of the sins they say she committed, I have no problem with the punishment she's received.
Okay.
But my question, where's the investigation going? Because there are a lot of layers to this. There was Cheryl Blugoslawski, the tax collector. There's the controller. How about the accounting firm that audited the city of New Britain and gave a clean report for many years?
All of that is so important. And you know why you're bringing it up, and I know exactly why you're bringing it up, because it makes the utmost sense. If there is no follow-up to this story that was literally inundating the news, it would give then the appearance that it was nothing more than a smear campaign only designed to get her out and move on. Right? We must get answers.
And I'll take it a step further. What about the bank? If you're trying to deposit checks that were backdated more than 6 months, the bank should not have accepted those checks. So there's many layers that still need to be investigated, and I'd like to know why we're hearing nothing.
You know what? 100%. And again, this is indicative of the news media here, right? I said this on Friday. I don't know if you heard about this. I took a really very basic, stupid fluff story that no one banked on. When I found out that Luke Bronin, the guy who just unseated John Larson, was the former mayor of Hartford, had a country album out 4 years before he became the mayor of Hartford, and there was no articles about it. Just none. Just missed it. Now, either these people are inept or it's by design. It can only be two reasons why you wouldn't get a story like that. Or, as you put it, no follow-up to a story that was clearly the biggest story during the election.
Well, you have a bully pulpit.
Yes, sir.
And I was hoping you could maybe make some calls to the Hartford Courant or to Bobby Sanchez, the new mayor of New Britain, who, again, I don't know him. But what about all the other layers involved here? And I'll go one step further, and then I'm going to hang up and let you talk to other listeners. I am a certified public accountant. I know the details involved with auditing a municipality. Mm-hmm. And they've given the accountants, go back to Enron. You know, the accountants were signing off on all of this stuff as, yep, there's no problem here in the city of New Britain. So I'm not saying I want a lot of people to go to jail, but I just think if it wasn't a hatchet job, where's the rest of the investigation going?
Couldn't agree more. Again, there may be. You know what? Listen, I look at it this way. If I'm somebody who's doing the auditing and there's something afoot, right? If there's something foul, I'm the guy who says, the person, I want to put an end to it, and I want to make an example out of those who spent years, and we're talking in this case a little more than a decade, fudging the books. We can't set a standard where that's okay and there are no repercussions for that behavior, be it Erin Stewart or people who allowed her to do it. We got to send a message that says no more corruption, because if there is no follow-up, then we're just going to have what's going to happen after Bobby Sanchez is out. Right? Then we're going to find out that, hey, there were no consequences and he was just as dirty. I'm not saying that he is, but in essence, if there are no consequences, we're pretty much just giving license for others to do it, right?
Right, but again, it's more than just Erin Stewart. You know.
Oh, no, that's my point. That's my point.
The backdating of checks that supposedly Cheryl Blugoslavsky, the tax collector, authorized through the... Okay, what about that part of the investigation? So, you know, someone in town hall took those checks that were backdated, filled out a basic deposit slip, went to the bank, deposited them. How did the bank accept checks that were dated more than 6 months? Mm-hmm. If you and I say, you know, we find a dividend check from Home Depot Investments and it's 2 years old, the bank's not going to accept it. So how did the bank accept these checks? There's so many layers, Reese.
Yeah, no, I know. It's a lot. Again, it only, as you just put it, it begs more questions than it does answers. I'll go one step further. How is it that a member of Erin Stewart's staff still works in City Hall?
Exactly. So, Reese, go get them.
Thank you, sir. Right? You got it. You got it. I've been given my mission. My mission has been given. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it. Hey, Polly in Niagara Falls. How are you, my dear?
Hey there. Your last caller, he is on to something.
Yes, he is.
On to something. Yeah.
What do you got for me, Polly?
Okay, listen. I was mainly calling about the left-right paradigm, the false right left dichotomy.
Oh, okay.
I do take a little umbrage. I want to say, give me 500 5-year-old black kids.
Okay.
And put them in a good home, good school. And give me 500 little white kids, put them in a bad home, bad school. And, you know, you're going to get the same thing.
Yeah, you get Little Rock, Arkansas in 1990s. Oh, I agree. 100% right, without a doubt.
So what the point is, it's upbringing, it's neighborhood, it's manufactured. You know, I don't know how to say it, but
yeah. But wait a minute, Polly. Let's not ignore that culturally it is socially acceptable in inner city communities that may have, because I can tell you this, I look at my ex-wife, Mary. My ex-wife is from Jamaica, Queens, which is in the inner city and she was one of those bad kids. She's a white Irish girl, and she was running into trouble just as much as, and who was her running partners? A bunch of black and Puerto Rican kids, because she was from the inner city, as was I. We had my best friend, Doug Kamayatek, was from the inner city when we were growing up. He was doing just as much of the bad deeds as we were doing in our community. But guess what? If he was in, some of the neighborhoods that were outside of us, and if he was in Hollis Wood as opposed to Hollis, Queens, his upbringing and his behavior in life would have probably been more suburban antics than it would have been the ghetto stuff we were doing. That's all I'm saying, is that I understand that proximity plays a huge role in these inner city kids and the behaviors that they have, getting into drugs, selling drugs, getting into violence. But the bottom line is that culturally, and it is culturally, an inner city black kid thing, an inner city Hispanic kid thing, to do these things that are culturally acceptable and not frowned upon.
But you just hit the nail on the head. It's the inner city.
Yes.
That itself is culture. That is a culture. So that sort of lens, okay? I'm not saying it excuses all. It doesn't. Okay. Oh, and then I got to make one point. You're going to probably get sick, but I think ICE, IDF trained, bad trained ICE, is,
why do you talk? Okay, you are waiting until the last of the show to bring up this part. You got to call me. Listen, because I'm literally near the end of the show. Polly, you call me tomorrow earlier in the show. I promise you. I
will. Okay. Because I'm telling you, there is something cultural with that, too. I really think so. You might disagree.
No, that's okay, but I love to hear you. Polly, I love you. I will talk to you soon. All right.
Yeah.
I love it.
Tomorrow, but okay, do we can agree that your upbringing? Well,
yes, 100%. In fact, in my next statement, I'm going to say it. I'll explain it to you. Thank you, Polly.
Beautiful. Thank you.
In fact, I would tell everybody, I would implore everyone to read that book that Thomas Sowell wrote, talking about, and I'm almost certain it's is it Black Rednecks or something like I can't forget the name of the book. It's escaping me now. But I think that book, if not, somebody correct me, but I think it's that book that talks about African-American soldiers after World War II. And they followed African-American soldiers who stayed in Germany versus African-American soldiers who went to like Mississippi or Alabama, and looked at the upbringing of that soldier's children. And the argument that Thomas Sowell makes is that because of the black family that stayed in, Alabama in the Deep South, because they have a floor, they have a ghetto, where in Germany, where the black soldier was living, didn't. There wasn't an acceptable bottom in Germany, but there was one in the Deep South of the United States. So when you have that, people can fall to it. But when it's unacceptable and it doesn't exist in another community, people will not fall to that. It's sort of like why Asian kids come to the United States and never do. Goodness gracious, I'm already done. All right, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. But remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on Radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. Mark Christopher's getting you home. He's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Good night, sir.